Hi Sachit, good morning.
Yes, hi sir, good morning.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, welcome. Good morning. I forgot your name. I had attended your wedding function. If you remember me, I had come.
My name is Vidhi.
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 Preeti, na?
Vidhi.
Vidhi. Yes, I remember. Vidhi, Vidhi, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Do you know the meaning of the word Vidhi?
Yes. In Tamil, I know.
Okay, what is it? What is it in Tamil?
Wait, in Tamil and in Hindi and like in our Gujarati, our culture, it means all the pujas and all the auspicious puja and all that we do, right? So,
And in Tamil, what does it mean?
fate.
Fate, huh?
They say Tala Vidhi also, I think.
Fate means like what we say Kismat in Hindi, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there is a saying in Hindi, Vidhi ka Vidhan. Like Vidhi ka Vidhan is like, what is written in your fate, cannot be overruled. That is what I believe is. Yeah, in that way, Vidhi is connected to fate in Hindi also.
Yeah.
But generally, Vidhi means, a proper way of doing something, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like when we are doing something, we can do it haphazardly. And we can do it, also scientifically in the right manner. So that is what Vidhi means.
Yeah.
So for everything, there is a proper Vidhi or proper way or systematic way.
Yes.
Anyways, welcome Vidhi. So very happy to see you here.
Thank you so much.
So may I know, you also are interested in, deeper topics like this, like spirituality, happiness, and such things?
Very much. Ever since I've met him, that's always been passed through me. So I've just been into this side. Like I've been more into touch of this side and spirituality, definitely through Sachit. So that's being together for so many years. I think that's become like a new natural thing, and I think we both enjoy having such conversations also more often and discussing and all that. So yes, definitely. Yeah.
No, so that way both of you are quite lucky in the sense that your temperaments match each other, and that's very good. May God bless both of you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, so actually Sachit has been a long-term student of mine. Maybe one day I'll ask Sachit to maybe take one session, go a light session, where he will share all that he has learned from me, in all these years. He is one of my best students, so he has learned quite a lot, and he has grown quite a lot spiritually. I can see that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, very proud of Sachit and very proud of all of you. And you see, Raj is not well, and he is having fever for last 3 days. Still, he is here. So that itself, gives me a lot of joy and happiness. That shows that what we are doing is not in vain, right? Because that commitment speaks for itself, right? So anyway, so what I plan to do today is revisit one of the earlier frameworks that I had shared. That stages of enlightenment or stages of spiritual development. Buddhist framework was there, and you may wonder why I'm using the same framework again, because in spiritual learning, it's not about learning 100 new things. It's about learning that one thing much more deeply and much more thoroughly, till it becomes a very useful tool for us. Now, the Panjan may not know about it, but then he will get a hang of it. I'll explain a little bit also. And why I'm doing it is because we are going to connect Peaceful Warrior to that framework. In the Peaceful Warrior movie that I had shown last time, so Sachit, you are not there. You can just watch, or maybe you have watched. Have you watched Peaceful Warrior?
So I think I have watched. I'll recall as you say. I think yes.
Okay, so it's a very famous movie. You can watch it.
Watched together.
We have watched it together. He breaks the chicken something.
Yes.
You have watched it. You have watched it, right?
Both have watched it. Yes.
Okay, so it's about one college student who is also a gymnast, and is preparing for a major event, gymnastics event, where he wants to win the gold medal. And then he also wants to do some move. One move is the triple flip is there, which no one has performed on the planet so far, and his dream is to do it one day. So then in the end of the movie, he is able to do that as well as win the gold medal, and he had broken his multiple bones in his lower part of the body, and doctors had told that he has no chance of participating. But he has found a mentor, and he calls him Socrates, and that mentor teaches him, to live his life in a more, proper vidhi, proper systematic vidhi, proper systematic manner, and that he learns, and by doing that, he develops, a very tremendous amount of focus and will and discipline, and he was already very skilled, but those skills become enhanced multifold because of these added qualities. These are spiritual qualities. So he learns from his mentor how it is important to be in the present moment. That is what the main thing that Socrates teaches him, that past is no longer relevant and future we don't know. Present moment is most important. That is the crux of the movie. So he keeps bringing him back to the present moment and in multiple ways, and thereby enhances his capacity to perform the gymnastic skills that he has learned. So that is the crux of the movie. So what I will do now, I will use that framework to showcase to you how he is developing. By applying this framework, we can see in different stages of the movie, you can see that he is developing, and any one of us can have this perspective. In a way, you can also look at yourself and your journey, how much you are developing or how much you have developed, and maybe you could share that with me. So I'll share my screen first, and then first let me get that framework first from Google, and then I'll share my screen. So more clear, I think. Yeah. So first we'll see in a small, picture, and then we'll enhance it later. So this is a framework that I have discussed earlier also, if you remember, one of the initial classes. And this is a classic framework which is used in Buddhism. Okay, and this was given by some great Buddhist scholar in some 3rd or 4th century AD, and ever since it has been used in the Buddhist circles. It's a very nice framework which captures exactly how the mind unfolds and develops on the spiritual journey. Okay, so now if you look at this framework, there are 10 stages. So Dipanjan and Vidhi, you can pay more attention because you're not there in that class. So no, here you see the elephant is there. I'll make it big. So in the first stage, an elephant is there. This elephant is completely black, you can see. And there's a monkey, which is completely black. And the monkey and the elephant are trying to run away from the owner of the elephant, which is the monk here you see in the back. Okay. And the monk is chasing the elephant, and the monkey and the elephant are running away from the monk. So that is the first stage of any seeker when they start the journey, right? But the good news is that all of us are at least on the first stage already. Why? Because this monk symbolizes the desire in us to awaken ourselves. So since we have the desire to awaken ourselves, this class and myself taking this class and you attending this class is a proof that at least all of us are desiring this inner happiness, inner peace, right? Why we seek this development in us is because we have come to some mature understanding that happiness cannot be found outside. It has to be developed inside. It's a capacity. Normal people think happiness is a random event which happens to them because of good luck. If you are rich, if you get a job, if you marry a rich husband or wife, or beautiful husband or wife, or if you stay away from disease, or you have good money and all, if you are traveling around the globe, if people respect you and you are powerful in society, 100 important people in society, you can move things, you can make things happen. All these things give you happiness. But actually, as you mature more and more, you realize that this is an illusion. Everything that we get from outside is temporary and can be taken away. And our happiness, which is a momentary pleasure, is conditioned upon or linked to these external events. So if I am healthy today, I am happy. But if I am developing some illness, then I am unhappy. For example, Raj today is not well physically. But does it mean that he is unhappy? We'll have to ask Raj. Raj, are you unhappy or only unwell?
No, sir. I'm just unwell. I'm happy.
Yeah, now that is an important statement which shows that he has found inner happiness, some sort of inner happiness, which is independent of the physical ailment to at least some degree. Now, I'm not saying that if physical pain increases, still Raj will be able to retain happiness. Now, that is his resilience. How resilient the happiness has become. But as we go further along this path, then our happiness becomes more and more resilient. But today in the first stage, we are already seeking, and that is a good thing. So in this diagram or this framework, what does the elephant represent and what does the monkey represent? So what does the elephant represent? Elephant represents completely darkened and programmed and conditioned mind. So the mind is completely dark, means there is no inner spiritual presence which is palpable, which is significant. There is a deep yearning that monk in the first stage represents, the deep yearning to awaken oneself from this deep slumber, this deep dark state of the mind. Okay, so that yearning has awakened, and that is a good thing. But despite this yearning, tremendous yearning, one finds oneself often unhappy, often unfocused, often scattered in 100 directions. That is the condition of an average person. But the average person is sleeping completely, so completely that the yearning itself has not awakened. They are completely running wildly like this wild elephant and the wild monkey in the samsara outside. Samsara is a Buddhist word, to depict the turbulence of the outside world, right? And the transience of the outside world, the impermanence of the outside world. So the mind is completely running in the outside world, right? But the yearning has awakened, and that shows that one has come to stage one. So in stage one, typically what happens is one either goes to a spiritual teacher, or one starts reading spiritual literature, or watching such spiritual programs, going to satsangs, maybe doing puja, mantra chanting, etc., fasting, etc. It manifests in so many ways, development of interest in astrology or such things, meditation and such things. One starts to practice many things. So this is the stage one. Now what happens? As a result of development on stage one, we come to stage two. So in stage two, you can see the elephant has become slightly white, at the top of the head, and so has the monkey. And the monk is still chasing. So still the elephant is running away and the monkey is running away, but some kind of understanding has developed, because the top of the head is the brain, right? So in the brain, the awareness dawns and develops for everyone, right? I forgot to tell, this monkey represents your intellect basically. The intellect or the conscious ego is the monkey in this case. So that I am Rajiv, and that I am a professor, and that I own so much money, or I am this many years old, or these are my achievements in life. All that constitutes the self concept that I have, the idea of the self that I have, that is represented by the monkey. And this monkey is leading the elephant, which is my unconscious mind, okay, my subconscious mind, okay, or what is called chitta in Sanskrit. So chitta is the elephant, and the ego, conscious ego, which is basically solidification or incrustation of the intellect into believing itself to be some self concept which is imposed upon the true self, which is the eternal reality, right? So idea is that in each person there are two realities. One is the eternal permanent part which will never die, which Bhagavad Gita says is immortal, atman. And there is a part which is participating in this worldly life, which is the person, the personality. And Gita says that in every lifetime we are given one different personality, and we move from lifetime to lifetime. So that kind of a truth has been found by so many masters across the thousands of years of human history, and we are in search of that truth. We also want to awaken to that truth, and that is what the search is all about. In stage two, what has happened is that the mind is now more aware. It is gaining some kind of a control over its waywardness. For example, when we sit to meditate, earlier we were not able to focus at all. The mind was running here, there, everywhere, except focusing upon the meditation. But now when we sit, we are able to focus for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then the mind wanders again. But then we again bring it back. That white patch on the head shows that we are able to bring it back. That awareness has come, so that we become sleepy, we become asleep again for some time, but after some time we again come back to the present moment. We again start to meditate. That is the stage, right? Then as we go to next stage, stage 3, you can see that the head has become white for both the elephant and the monkey, and a rabbit has appeared. Now, what is the significance of this rabbit appearing? The rabbit in this diagram signifies that we have developed our focus, our ability to concentrate or be in the present moment so much that our mind is generally in our control when we meditate. But from time to time, one stray thought arises, one stray desire arises, one stray impulse arises, and that is the rabbit. So idea is that mind is now not functioning in a smooth flow of unconsciousness. Mind is quite broadly conscious, but loses consciousness from time to time. And every time it loses the consciousness, the rabbit appears. So rabbit is like one stray thought at a time, which is very infrequent now, right? So the continuity of my meditation is quite long now. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm able to concentrate and meditate. Suddenly it breaks down, and then the rabbit. Breaking down means one rabbit has appeared. Are you able to follow what I'm saying? So that is what the stage 3 represents. And obviously by this stage, obviously you have gained a lot of mastery or control over your mind. So now the monkey and the elephant both are looking towards the monk for guidance. As you can see, the reins of the elephant is now in the hand of the monk. You know, the monk is able to put its noose or the rope that you see in its hand, around the elephant's neck. So the elephant is now listening to the inner voice. So now the monk has become the inner voice. So the monk is also going through transformation. So initially it was in a yearning and trying to control the mind, because the yearning was leading us to study spirituality and gain spiritual wisdom. And using that wisdom, we were able to awaken our mind to some extent in stage 2. Some discrimination, some viveka has developed. We take mindful decisions, and we start to live more organized life. Then in stage 3, we have awakened a little bit more. Now we are able to maintain awareness for quite long time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. Then we again lose awareness. One rabbit appears. But then again, because we are seeking guidance from the inner voice, the monk, we are able to come back to our senses quite quickly. Earlier it was taking much more time. Sometimes it may take 2, 3, 4 days also. There is no specific timeline, in the sense that when in stage 2 the mind is little bit white, it doesn't mean that you come back in 5 minutes or come back in 10 minutes. It may take a week or 10 days also. Maybe 15 days you indulge yourself completely, in whatever wildness, and suddenly you feel regret, you feel sad. I have lost my practice. Let me start again. Even that may happen in stage 2 for a long time. It may look as if this is happening very quickly, but to move from stage 1 to stage 2 may take 5 years. To move from stage 2 to stage 3 may take another 5 years. So this development happens very, very gradually, and one has to be persistent and patient. So I had shared in one class, maybe a few classes back, one idea which I am repeatedly now re-emphasizing in each class. I am again re-emphasizing. It is for your sake, Vidhi. You are not in that class. I told that to develop in spiritual life, we need the following things, which I am going to say now. First, knowledge of the right process. We have to learn a correct process, which if we follow, we can develop spiritually. So knowledge of the right process. Then second is faith in the right process. We need to believe in the process, that this process is good. Okay. Then third is applying this process. See, any medicine is useless unless you take it. Right. So you apply the process. Now, as you apply the process, the result will not come instantly. As you can see from this diagram, as I told, to move from stage 1 to stage 2, it may take 5 years. It may take 10 years also. Maybe in a lifetime, we can move only one stage. Okay. So even that can happen. So one needs to be patient. Even though we're following a process, so knowledge of the right process, faith of the right process, faith in the right process, applying the process, But results are not very quick. They come slowly. They come slowly, but they come surely. So you get the benefit that is guaranteed, but the speed with which you grow will be slow. And why it is so? You can see from the diagram how black the elephant is. How black the elephant is. And why they chose elephant as a symbol. Because elephant is the strongest creature. Elephant is the strongest creature on land, right? So they took elephant as a symbol because our mind is so wild and so strong, like the elephant. In Indian tradition, we compare the mind to the horse, wild horse. But in Buddhist tradition, they have chosen elephant because elephant is the strongest creature. So it is not very easy to tame a wild elephant. That is why they have taken the elephant. Now, for God's sake, don't get confused about the elephant or the horse. It's only a metaphor. In fact, our mind is neither the elephant nor the horse. Our mind is the mind. We are only a metaphor. We are only using a metaphor to understand. Okay. So, anyways, so patience. Fourth was the patience. So, knowledge of the right process, faith in the right process, applying the process, then patience. Now, as you are patiently doing your sadhana, results start to increase more and more, which is depicted in this diagram. And stage 5 is what? You start reaping the rewards. Like Raj says that he is having fever, but still he is happy. Now, that is a spiritual achievement. That he is able to remain happy and upbeat despite the body being unwell. So much so that he is willing to stay 2 hours here and do this class. That shows that he has gained some spiritual mastery. So in Peaceful Warrior also, you see there is one scene where doctors are telling you can't participate in the Olympics, forget winning. And not only that, we are not even sure whether you will be able to walk without a wheelchair. For all you know, you may be wheelchair bound whole life. Now just imagine. So his injury is so bad, he is such a fit and strong athlete before the injury. Right? He is a national level athlete. Gymnastics is not a small or very easy sport. One is super fit. Top gymnasts, they are super fit people. If you have seen gymnasts, they are far fitter than cricketers or footballers. So he's a very super fit, handsome young man before the accident. But after the accident, his state is so bad, the doctors are telling you may be wheelchair bound whole life. And the event is going to happen in 9 or 10 months. It is not as if he has long time to recover. Now, where you are having a future where doctors are telling you'll be wheelchair bound for many years, to the situation where you want to win the gold medal in 10 months. Now you can see it's a impossible order. No human being in his right brain will tell that he will be able to participate in the Olympics. Forget winning it, right? So everyone in the world has given up on him, including his coach, his friends, and he himself. Millman himself has given up on him himself. But this Socrates fellow who was mentoring him before the accident also, he is the only one who has faith in him. He says that nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. Why? Because we are again where? In the present moment. In the present moment, we have nothing to do with the past. Accident happened in the past, right? Olympics is in the future. We never know what the future holds for us. Future is a mystery. What is with you is this present moment. You just focus upon this present moment and you practice, right? He sets up the practicing apparatus. He helps him, to become slowly stronger day by day, physically and mentally. And he says you just practice. And he says forget about the Olympics. You just master your craft. You become a better gymnast. That is the only goal. Okay. There is no end goal that an Olympic you want to win. You just be in the present moment. You just practice what you have been doing since childhood. He starts And then what happens? Slowly, 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 he regains his fitness. And ultimately, he goes to the event and he wins the event. Not only that, he does a triple flip, which he had not been able to do even when he was physically strong and his body had not gone through an accident. It is a remarkable story, and it is based upon the real life incident in the life of the author. He has written this book, The Peaceful Warrior, Dan Millman. It was a real life incident, and all these things happened in his life. Okay. So this story, real life story, tells us the power of the spirit over matter. I will not say mind over matter. Generally, people say mind over matter, but I will say spirit over matter. So when the materialistic world has given up on Millman, looking at the reports, the X-ray reports, and other medical reports, and given the small time frame of 10 months or 9 months, I don't know, I don't remember exactly how many months. That is not the point. Point is that a very small time frame, maybe let's say a year, when to the normal human understanding it's impossible, only a spiritual practitioner or a spiritual adept will tell you that all is not lost. So idea is that one power of spirituality is that it never loses hope. It teaches you to never lose hope. Even when the whole world says that something is impossible, the spirit never says that something is impossible. And at ultimate levels of mastery, of the levels at which ammas exist, nothing is impossible. Actually, literally nothing is impossible. Okay. It is told that, these masters can create their own universe if they like. They have that much power. So nothing is impossible. So, but then at our level also, where we are, this movie inspires us to believe in ourselves and never give up hope. So it's a very beautiful, and very powerful message that this movie conveys. So what is happening is that as we are progressing and as our mind is becoming whiter and whiter and whiter, we start to look more and more towards the inner spirit. So now the monk is the inner spirit. So you already notice I told the monk to be the yearning, then the inner voice, and then the spirit. Are they the same thing? I'll take a pause. I want you to respond. The spiritual yearning, the inner voice, and the spirit, do they seem to be the same thing?
Sir, in my opinion, they're interconnected, but not the same thing, I believe.
Okay. Sachin?
I also think that it's not the same, but the same similar essence.
Okay. Dipanjan?
Yes, sir, I would agree.
You agree with Raj or agree with me?
I think that they are interconnected but not the same, maybe overlapping.
Okay. I'll ask my son. Okay. Rohan is also here. Rohan? Are you there, beta, Rohan?
Yeah.
What is your opinion? Are they the same thing?
I think
You
like
can switch on your video. Vidhi can see you, right? She has not seen you.
1 minute.
My son is very handsome, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, tell me.
Full warrior.
I think like they're very closely interconnected, but they're not exactly the same thing either.
Okay. Okay, I'll share my opinion. So actually what happens is that very fact that you are seeking is an evidence of grace upon you. So in spiritual path, we depend a lot upon grace. Now what is grace? Grace is God's gift, God's blessing upon us. So idea is that if you go by Sanatan Dharma's belief, it is believed that when we have loved God for many lifetimes, only then this spiritual sanskara is deep rooted in us. And in this Kali Yuga, when the whole world is going wildly towards materialistic, goals in life, the very fact that we are able to dedicate a Sunday, which is supposed to be a holiday, to a class like this shows that the yearning in us is very deep, and that can be only God's grace. There is no other way that we will be so committed to this. Very fact that Raj came despite his illness shows God's grace upon Raj. Otherwise, this yearning can't be so strong. So, if yearning is God's grace, can't I call it God's presence in me? So, I will say that they are the same, just like the seed is same as the sapling. Are the seed and the sapling same? If we take a different seed and a different sapling, we can say they are different. But if we take the same seed, which has become a sapling in its future course of development, then the seed contains the sapling. So the spiritual yearning is the seed, and it is slowly growing. It is slowly growing. And so first it becomes the inner voice. Now what is this inner voice? This inner voice is basically refined conscience. Now what is refined conscience? Refined conscience is your ability to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong. This is morally speaking. You are able to discriminate between morally right and morally wrong things, right? And that has developed because of your life experiences. That has developed because your heart has blossomed, so that qualities like empathy and kindness have started to take roots. And also, there is a viveka, the ability to reflect upon your decisions, upon your actions, and see the positive and negative consequences upon yourself and upon other people. This is called viveka in Sanskrit. So viveka has also developed a lot in you, and all these things together are called the inner voice or the conscience. Right. So if you did not have interest in spirituality, will you develop this viveka? Will you be able to? No. Because how do you develop the viveka? By studying, by contemplating, by reflecting. The teacher may be teaching, no? You listen, Sravanam. But then you go and contemplate, Mananam. Then you apply these teachings in your life and you gain experiences. Then as you meditate upon these teachings, you get inner insights. So all these inner insights and external experience through life events develop this viveka. So this spiritual yearning becomes the viveka. And as you develop more and more viveka, what happens? You generally over time tend to gather strength. And as you gather more and more strength, in stage 2, your head has become more white. You are able to do more viveka. In stage 3, you are now slowly giving the reins of your life to the inner voice, which is the growing spirit inside you. So these 3 things will become more and more prominent in you. I mean, they are not 3 things, they are the different stages of the same thing. So in a way, spiritual yearning itself is the presence of spirit, the seed form, in the seed form. And then the viveka is slight blossoming of that inner spirit. That seed has become a little bit of a sapling. And then by the time you reach a stage 3 in this diagram, you are someone who is now looking more and more towards the inner voice, inner guidance. What is called intuition develops at stage 3. At stage 3, you don't know why you don't want to go to Norway for this job, even though it is giving you 3 times more money, but ultimately you don't go. And something tells you not to go. And everyone is saying, all your relatives are saying, oh, you're mad. You will be getting 1 crore, 2 crores, and you're not going. But something in you tells that, no, I will not go. Why? Because the elephant is looking towards the inner voice. And the inner voice has become very strong voice of intuition. Now at this stage, do you know why you didn't go? You don't know. Exactly you don't know. You can't explain verbally, but something in you stops you. So that is when your head has turned backwards. So the whole world is running towards outside, materialistic things, but you are looking at inner spirit for guidance. That is stage 3. Can you relate to what I'm saying? many of you would be experiencing this perhaps right now in your life. Can you say yes, no, something? I don't know.
Yes, sir. I would say it's a slow transformation in the spiritual path.
But can you relate to what I'm saying? Something like that is happening?
In terms of the yearning and the impact on the current life, sir, I would say that yes, I'm experiencing that. Not attaching to specific things more as I used to do before, and seeking what is important in life versus what everyone else is chasing in life. So I see the difference. So there is a property which is lying, we are attaching a number to the property. For example, there is a beach, right? So people are going to buy the beach property, and in my opinion, if I think the ocean itself belongs to me, as you said, you can create your own universe. If I think the beach property doesn't matter to me because I'm seeing everything as mine. So if I have to correlate, sir, yes, I'm making the progress slowly towards the journey.
Dipanjan, how about you? Because you also have been seeking for some years, you told. So what stage you relate to in my description so far?
Sir, I don't know, maybe stage 1 or 2,
Okay.
but this experience that you said I could relate to, that there are certain instances where I feel that some things that I would have, there are certain vasanas in me that are pretty strong, but I feel that there are patches in which I do not immediately go and do something. Now I am more restrained, but it is not as if I am in full control.
Yeah. So if you look at the elephant here in stage 3 or stage 2, especially stage 3, because from what you say, Dipanjan, it is reflecting stage 3 because you are looking towards inside for guidance, which is kind of restraining you. It doesn't succeed all the time. Why? Because the elephant is predominantly black even today. Right? You said vasanas. So vasanas is the black color of the elephant. Okay. So vasanas are very strong. The elephant is so strong that even though it is looking towards the inner guidance, but the rabbit is also, quite strong. The rabbit is the vasana, one specific vasana that has suddenly sprung from the unconscious mind. Okay. And but that rabbit is also looking at the master, the inner voice. Now earlier the rabbit was not there. Till stage 3, rabbit was not there. Why rabbit was not there? Because your life was nothing but a continuous stream of vasana fulfillment. But now what is happening is that generally you are in control as the head is quite white, but sometimes you lose control. So a rabbit springs from the unconscious and topples you. But even when the rabbit springs from the unconscious, the rabbit's head is white. So as you said, it doesn't indulge impulsively. It tries to restrain itself, seeking inner guidance, but ultimately may fail. The person may fail. The monkey may fail. Right now the person is monkey only, right? Even though the monkey's head is white, elephant's head is white. So monkey is the conscious mind. Conscious mind has become quite aware. The elephant is the unconscious mind that also become quite aware. And the rabbit is the vasana springing from the unconscious mind. That is a little less compulsive and looking more towards the inner master. So we indulged earlier unconsciously and we indulge today after a lot of fight with the tendency to indulge. And sometimes we may also be able to restrain ourselves when the vasana is not that strong. Are you following me? Maybe you relate to that, Dipanjan. Am I describing your inner state?
Yes, sir.
So that is stage 3. Sachit, how about you? You are here or you are further up?
As we go in the further stages, probably I'll try to relate. Sir.
But do you remember any time in life when this was your experience?
Yes, yes. I'm able to relate to stage 3 in terms of, for example, turning inwards is what is depicted here. But for example, many times in life, a lot of desires come up like the rabbit. But for me, it is much lesser, I feel. Earlier, it was much more. Probably 5 years earlier, it would have been much more. Now also, definitely they do come, but the frequency or the kind of there are some sort of differences that I feel. And one thing which is slightly different, which probably I'm not sure, but I just want to highlight. Many a times I'm not necessarily only looking towards, like in this case, to the inner voice, which is the spirit. But sometimes I surrender to the higher energy. So I'm not sure if that's. I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, that is stage 4. So
Okay.
in stage 4, you will see the elephant's eyes are closed.
Yeah.
And in stage 3, elephant's eyes are open.
Yes.
So open eyes means there is deep respect for the inner voice, but there is not yet surrender. The elephant is still rebellious. The conscious intellect argues against the inner voice.
Correct.
Okay, so it is quite strong. What you have learned from the world outside is still sometimes able to overpower the inner voice. But in stage 4, the elephant's eyes are closed, means now there is surrender. Now there is a knowing that the inner knowledge is more strong or more wise than my worldly knowledge. So that surrender has come. So stage 4 is of humility. Stage 3 is of still pride of, no, I'm a Harvard graduate, I am graduate. I'm also, I mean, maybe this is wrong, maybe it's inner prompting is wrong. I mean, why should I not take this job? I mean, it's so wonderful, right? So sometimes you are able to shout down the inner voice. But in stage 4, you don't shout down the inner voice. You are more surrendered. You know it is wise. And you are trying your level best to follow it. But sometimes you still fail.
Yeah.
Despite all your best efforts, you fail. And then you feel, more, I will not say guilty at this stage, but more sad, that I'm still not able to completely align myself to the inner voice. The spirit has become quite strong inside, right? But as spirit becomes more and more strong in you, the guilt starts to vanish actually. It's more a feeling of self-love actually. You start to feel inner compassion for you. By stage 4, you know you're a child, you know you're growing, and you know God is with you, and there are enough evidences in your life of God's love for you. So you know you're God's child, and you know you are not perfect, and you know you are still failing a lot. But still, you are quite happy that I'm trying and God is with me, and with God's help, I will one day succeed. So, hope is very high in stage 4. And there are a lot of miracles happening in your life, okay, all the time, where God makes you feel supported because you are on an excellent path. All kinds of synchronicity will happen, which will help you to be supported financially. In a lot of ways, God takes care that, you prosper more and you grow more, right? Inner and outer are connected, right? Since God created the universe, the God awakening in you also supports you in the outer universe. So this is stage 4. And the rabbit has become even more white, so there's more control. And as you told Sachit, less frequent, the inner impulses or compulsions become less frequent and less overpowering. And they are more prone to listening to the inner guidance. And the monkey, the torso is becoming white, which means that lot of awakening has happened. The spiritual reasoning or spiritual ability to think has increased a lot. The buddhi is being spiritualized. The intellect is being spiritualized. Spirit is informing the buddhi. Now this cannot happen unless one has really spent a lot of years in spiritual studies, spiritual process, even in earlier lifetimes. If not in this lifetime, maybe it is in earlier lifetime. If directly you are at this stage or very quickly you have reached this stage, it shows that you have been doing it for many lifetimes. Otherwise, if someone starts at stage 1, maybe they will not be able to reach stage 4 in this lifetime. Not possible. Because so much development in one lifetime, almost impossible. Okay. So, the very fact that we are here on a Sunday shows that we are at least stage 3. Otherwise, we won't have the strength to let go of a Sunday because the pull of the world outside will be too strong. Okay, because the spiritual will, no, that has developed quite a lot in you. So this is stage 4. Now coming to peaceful warrior, no, so what happens in peaceful warrior? So this Dan Millman actually is a guy who is like a wild elephant and a wild monkey. He's having a wild lifestyle. He's quite talented and quite handsome. So he's leading a wild life, like any celebrity maybe. Most celebrities are like this, wild elephant and the wild monkey. Only the monk is missing. Wild parties and what I'm saying. And lot of money in the bank, so they can indulge their passions whichever way they like. And that is how life is for them. So till they receive shocks, they will not, tend to yearn for something higher. Because what happens is that as we grow in material wealth and power, the life as such provides us many avenues for material indulgence, sense pleasures, right? So a lot of ways in which we can entertain ourselves. So this stage 1 itself doesn't arise in most people. But one day in this Peaceful Warrior movie, this hero goes to a gas station and he meets a person called what he names. That person never tells his name. But Millman starts calling him Socrates because he seems to be a wise philosopher. Socrates was a famous Greek philosopher. So, he just gave him a nickname, called Socrates. So I'll call it Socrates. So he meets Socrates and he sees something very puzzling. He saw Socrates on the ground floor and he has taken 1 or 2 steps and he looks back and he sees him on the rooftop. And he's a gymnast. So for him, this is a remarkable physical feat. Because a gymnast, he does somersaults and such things. So he finds it impossible for any human to be able to reach the rooftop in such a small time, in less than a second. And that is what impresses him. And this is what, Socrates does to gain an entry into Millman's heart and mind. So this curiosity to know Socrates, who he is, arises in Millman, and he keeps coming back to the gas station to meet Socrates. Then as he keeps meeting him again and again, relationship develops, and slowly, Socrates brings him under control. Now, there is one episode in the movie where, Socrates has to break the physical pride of Millman. I was talking to my wife. So, yeah, so, he has to break physical pride of Millman because he's a gymnast. Now, we may wonder why the guru has to break the pride. Because in Sanatan, principle, Sishya, or in English also, there's a beautiful one, disciple. We call him disciple, no? There's one word, student. So student is not so strong, but disciple is more strong word. So before someone becomes a disciple, surrender has to happen. Why surrender has to happen? Because who is the disciple? A disciple is someone whom the guru disciplines. This mind is wild. The black elephant and the black monkey shows the wildness of the mind. So Millman's mind is wild. But that wild mind has to be tamed, has to be trained, retrained for greater accomplishments. Now, if Millman had not received this training, he would not be able to bounce back from that severe accident. Right? Maybe the master knows about the future events also. So he is starting to train him for those events, right? He has chosen a disciple because through him he wants to teach the whole world. Because Socrates later disappears. So for all you know, there may have been a soul from a higher dimension whom have descended just to teach this person and give a gift to the world, and so that he can make this movie and write this novel and share with us. And it's a very powerful movie, which has awakened or helped millions of people. It's a very inspiring movie, right? In any spiritual list of movies, no, it is among top 15, 20 movies in everyone's list. Okay. So for all you know, he may have been a master. Real means, from a higher being, higher dimension, he may have come. Because no one knows where he went. Anyways, so to gain an entry into Millman's mind, he shows that magic, where suddenly from ground floor he reaches the rooftop. And then they start meeting. And then on one occasion, to break the physical pride, he says, "You are very strong, right?" He says, "Yes." "Can you do this?" So he stands in a certain posture and says, "How long do you think you can do this posture?" So Millman says, "You name it. How much time you want me to stand like this?" He was thinking it's such a silly thing, I have to stand like this only, no. I can stand for 5 hours. What is the big problem? I'm doing so many somersaults. I'm so super strong and fit. He's a national level athlete, world class athlete. So he says, 5 minutes? He says, 5 minutes? Are you joking? I, the great, champion, gymnastic champion, I can't stand like this for 5 minutes. Are you joking? He says, okay, deal, you do it. And what happens? He starts screaming after 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's a very classic scene. And before 5 minutes end, he collapses completely. He can't sustain that for 5 minutes. And that was a shock to him, that I am so weak. So the elephant and the monkey think that they are so super smart. They're stronger than the whole world, right? So often happens to celebrities. Today I am now taking a class of celebrities, okay? The celebrities think they are so super special that they can do anything. But in reality, they are only a wild elephant, nothing more than that. Okay, they need a master to really show them their limits. Okay. So then he comes to his senses. And that is the point when he perhaps shifts to, a state where he accepts Socrates as the master. Stage 1 is reached. And the yearning to understand his secret arises in him, because he wants to become like that. He wants to understand. He says, pick his brain. He wants to pick his brain. Like, what exactly makes him so unique? Then he starts to take lessons. Then, he reaches stage 1 and he practices for some time, but still his mind is wild and runs, after the outside world. But then Socrates imposes some restrictions. He says, no booze, no girls, nothing for, for next many months till your Olympics come. So he starts to listen to him. Then one day he does an extraordinary performance. Then he comes back and starts boasting about how he did it, and this person admonishes him. He says that you are still living in the past. What I have taught you is to be in the present moment. That performance is already past. No point boasting about it. Just focus upon the present moment. And this person thinks that he's mad. I have just achieved such a significant thing in my life. I never performed like that. It's the best performance of my life. And he can't enjoy that. So he thinks that master is a very boring person. And he goes off in anger. But actually, what is the reality? What is the reality? Can you tell me what is he trying to teach in that scene? Is it bad to enjoy our past glory?
So it's not bad, but is he trying to teach humility through being in the present? Because anyhow, he said past doesn't matter. But being in the present moment also can be enjoyable, because he still possesses the same skill of ability of still achieving that same feat. So just being in the present also can be really enjoyable, is what I thought.
So I have, can you see the diagram? I have moved to stage 9.
Yeah.
In stage 9, you see what is happening. The person, I will call him the person now. You see that there is no monkey, no rabbit, everything is gone long back, okay? So this is a very evolved person, spiritually very evolved person, highly evolved person. In fact, an enlightened person actually. At that level, when the person sits, the mind sits. When the person stands, the mind stands. When the person walks, the mind walks. When the person thinks, the mind thinks. So mind has become a tool and you have become the master. Right? But go to stage 1, mind is the master, the elephant and the monkey are the master, and you are nowhere in the picture. You are the monk, okay? The real you, the real self, the atman is the monk, spirit. It is nowhere in the picture. The wild ego, the wild elephant is running the life. And what life? Indulging the vasanas, in the Panjan's words. So, are you using the mind or is the mind abusing you? And when I say you, I mean you as your soul. So, in stage 9, you are the soul and you know you are the soul and you are using your mind, right? But in stage 1, you have no idea that you are the soul. You are a wild Millman, very popular among the girls in the campus, having a wild lifestyle and thinks he is a hero of some sort. So, in that condition, his real self, has he any awareness of that? He has no awareness of that. So, he is in stage 1 not because he has earned it. He is in stage 1 because the master has granted his grace upon him. Socrates chooses to come into his life. Do you follow what I am saying? If Socrates did not choose to come into his life, what will happen to Millman? He will remain that white elephant. And that accident anyways would happen because that was his destiny. And he would not be able to participate in the Olympics, forget winning the gold medal. And he may commit suicide because there is a scene where he was about to commit suicide and there also the master intervenes in some way. He bends the event in some way that he doesn't commit suicide. I mean, bends the event means inner, in the mind. Somehow bends the scene so that he doesn't end his life. So he would have ended up as a disaster, right? But what a beautiful thing he achieved ultimately. So you see, when he was performing in the Olympics, I will say that he was in stage 7. He had only one rabbit, and that too a white rabbit, one solid desire to do the triple flip, which no one has done. But that's a tough thing, not an easy thing. So rabbit is purely white. That will inspire the whole gymnastic community, and that is a great thing. So it's a good desire for the sake of humanity. And see, elephants' rear legs are black. So by that time, now just imagine a wild boy who was not even in stage 1 to have reached stage 7. It seems that he reached stage 7. Do you think it is a joke or something? It may look like a diagram only, but do you think in inner journey, is it a joke? It's not a joke. Tremendous development has happened. And development has happened to such an extent that he is able to receive telepathic message from the master. In the last scene, the Socrates' words are resounding in his head. So Socrates is sending a telepathic message that what exists is only this moment, only now, and he is in a different state of consciousness. His mind is completely in the present moment. Like in the park, once he had that experience, where suddenly everything slows down and becomes so beautiful. When he throws him into that pond, he says, "What have you done? Are you mad?" And then, when he's angry and he says, "What is happening in this park? Nothing is happening." And then, he touches him and then suddenly everything becomes so beautiful. So, that state of consciousness he is able to experience at that moment, and he is able to do the triple flip. So, actually, such states of consciousness are possible to attain through a lot of development. And it is at that stage, or such stages, when we know that what the masters always meant, that happiness is inside, not outside. When we start enjoying those states as our natural state, the immense clarity, immense peace, immense love, immense courage, immense everything, and we need not wait for stage 7. We start to enjoy that even from stage 2, stage 3 itself. In fact, at stage 1 itself, we start to enjoy because we know that what the outside world is missing. We know that there is something beautiful inside, and somehow, for example, one may enjoy in stage 1 lot of good music, lot of good poetry. One may enjoy, company of very wonderful people. One may like to go and visit Amma, and maybe, from time to time, or your master, whoever is a spiritual teacher, because there's an yearning, or you may go on tirtha, or you may do some puja, or you may do some fasting, or you may chant some mantra. You may celebrate Deepavali, Holi, Onam, etc. with a different fervor. Even in stage 1. The pujas become significant to you. Even at that stage, these many housewives demonstrate that the love with which they celebrate these, different festivals. That is stage 1 yearning actually for God. Okay, and that makes life so beautiful. The whole country, India, is in stage 1. I can say that, as an average Indian, the whole country is in stage 1. The deep yearning for God, deep yearning for truth. So whole year we celebrate all these festivals which allow us to remember God from time to time, isn't it? The temple is like a symbol for stage 1. That monk is in the temple. If not in my heart, he is in the temple. And the monk in the heart connects with the God in the temple. How beautiful that is. So, in the Peaceful Warrior movie, the Socrates fellow, he comes in the life of Millman, that is grace, draws him towards himself, that is stage 1, then breaks his pride. So when he breaks his pride, we can say that in the head of the elephant and the monkey, one crack has opened up. It was very solidly black, but he has cracked open that. Literally, I can say that metaphorically speaking, a skull has been broken open. The skull has been cracked. The thick skull, that egoic skull. Not literally in the sense physically, but metaphorically. The skull has been opened. So you can compare that to the stage 2. The head has become slightly white, right? But obviously surrender has not happened. Even stage 3 has not come. Before the accident, he is in stage 2. So in stage 2, you can see the elephant is looking in front. The monkey is looking in front. The master is interesting, Socrates is quite interesting, but not yet in control. He's trying to control the elephant, but the elephant doesn't listen. Right? So when he comes and celebrates his earlier success, he just admonishes. And then this fellow is rebellious, he runs away. Right? And then, after running away a few times, one day he meets an accident. So he meets the accident in stage 2, where he knows Socrates is very valuable, very, very great being, but he doesn't yet understand his value. That actually what Socrates is trying to teach is the most important thing in life. That has not yet dawned upon him. For him, the big thing is the Olympics and the performance in the Olympics. But Socrates is having no interest in the Olympics or the gold medal. That yearning that he has for worldly achievement, he uses that as a tool to help develop this student. Because he wants to achieve something significant, that he uses as a tool. So he also tells us that in spiritual teaching, desire to accomplish something is very important. If someone is a dead being, has no interest in anything at all, difficult to teach them. But if someone has passion, so Millman has a lot of passion. If someone has a passion to develop themselves, to achieve something even worldly in nature, even then it's a good thing. A teacher can appear and help. But if you have no desire to achieve anything, then no one can help. So no, Amma says that tamas has to be overcome by rajas. Tamas is when there is slothfulness, inertia, laziness, no desire for anything. Many of the people are like that. So that is tamasic state. But at least you want to win a gold medal in Olympics. That is a rajasic desire. And that is good because then you will practice, you will make so many efforts, you will discipline your lifestyle. All these athletes who prepare for Olympics or for World Cup or big events, they become so disciplined. They are not wild like they are fellow beings. To play cricket for India, you have to be really disciplined, right? You have to stop smoking, maybe stop drinking, you have to get up early, go for a jog, go to the gym, do yoga, do mental fitness training, physical fitness training. So many things you learn, right? You have psychological trainer and so many things. You go through so much development. So your intellect develops so much, character develops so much. So this very desire to succeed itself is a good thing. Is a good thing because then you can be taught to do the same thing in a better way. Right? Are you following me? To take a recent example, in the World Cup cricket, the way Rohit Sharma was playing, the captain, he was not caring about his wicket. And he was in the form of his life actually. The way he was hitting the ball and stroking the ball, everyone is saying that he was in the best form of his life. If he had played selfishly, he would have scored many centuries in the tournament. If he had not, taken so many risks, he would have scored much more runs than most people. Maybe he and Virat would be number one, number two. I don't know who will score more runs, but he would have scored very heavily, the kind of form he was in. But he was playing selflessly. Now my point is this, if Rohit Sharma could be given that, kind of a Zen-like mind, that Millman was enjoying when performing in the Olympics, do you think some miracle will happen on the field? What is your opinion? Sachit, Dipanjan, Raj, Vidhi?
So when the mind is in control, certainly things will happen. The miracles will happen, even in the movie as well, right? So the moment he learns the trick of being in present at a very early stage, and he celebrates it, and he doesn't understand that it was a temporary passing curve, and he comes and celebrates with his master, and master disagrees to it. You are still living in the past. So when somebody attains that full control of mind, certainly miracles will happen, sir, on the ground.
There the behavior of the master is very eccentric to most people, right? I mean, what is the harm in enjoying something he has achieved so beautiful, and why not be, indulgent towards him and not treat him like a child? Now, you see, a normal parent will do that. A normal parent will do that. So if you look at it from, mother's perspective, father's perspective, you may think, no, he was very cruel, right? But we have to understand, he is not a parent, he is a spiritual teacher. He is a guru actually. And guru is trying to discipline you. You are a disciple. You are no longer a child, you are a disciple. So you see, when a guru treats you as a disciple, that's a great honor. Do you understand what I'm saying? He sees something in you. So what is appearing as cruelty is like, gold being beaten in that heat, no? You heat the gold and beat it. So guru is heating you and beating you. Amma also says that, the guru does that. But the very fact that guru thinks you are deserving of that heating and beating is a great honor. He sees some spark in you. Okay. And he knows that you will not understand it today. But what he has done is that he has given you a memory which is going to puzzle you. So you are in stage 2, right? Or maybe stage 1. Maybe stage 2, I don't know, maybe somewhere there. You have respect for the master. You know he's not a usual guy. You know whatever he does looks mad, but there is some meaning in that. but you can't understand. So what will happen? You'll keep pondering over it. You'll be very angry for some days. You'll not go to him for some days. That is what happened to him, right? But after 7, 8, 9 days, he starts missing him. So he again goes. Because he wants to learn. Now, what is this yearning to understand? What I don't understand today. That is the seed's desire to become the tree. Unless that is there in you, you cannot grow. Now, this is a very beautiful moment to take a pause and hear all of you. What do you think about this statement of mine? Do you relate to it, this feeling, the seed trying to become a tree? How much it resonates with you?
I wanted to share one thing. I'm able to relate to that in certain, because I'm able to see the contrast in what this is. For example, 4 years before it's been 4 years that we got married. But before that period, there was a complete, only, for example, in the other higher stages, there's only one particular desire that, I wanted to get married to her as one particular desire which was there. So probably if I take that element as the rajas which is there, as the passion that it was like a blinding passion that only this is what I see in my life as one of the major end goals. Why I'm highlighting this part is, to me personally, this was a contrast that I could see at those times when I would attend these kind of sessions earlier. And that is the time when I was also growing in certain areas of my life. I think there was a lot of difference in being disciplined or in making more growth in that aspect of my life. I would say that I had grown so much more in those years of my life. And after getting married, obviously there is a huge period, or at least of 2-3 years, where it's complete in a, you can call it a honeymoon period of bliss about being achieved, being in that okay, this is completed. And in between, many times I would also feel empty, not about empty, but I think I was how do I word it, I was feeling not having a much more higher desire. I know that I had it somewhere deep, but it was not very concrete in front of me, or I was not able to. It was making me move towards more of a tamasic kind of a lifestyle. So at those times, I definitely felt a lot of contrast in being able to, put my mind towards more spiritual growth. Or though I would have those previous, because of whatever I did in the previous years, has that a little impact which is there. But the further more growing was very slowed down. And until, like you said, there will be other shocks that you'll keep getting, another whacking here and there. So that's when you get back to a little jolt and start bringing back in remembrance that, okay, now that part is that I think I've passed that phase again. I mean, now I don't feel that emptiness which is there, and I still come back to what I actually desire in real pursuit of life, which is to move towards spiritual growth. So yeah, that is there. So I'm able to immediately see that contrast which you're highlighting of a passion which is there and when the passion is not there.
Okay.
I wanted to just add to what you were saying. Like, could you relate to the potential of the seed? Like, what you were saying. Like, and I believe that, like, the seed has the most potential, even than the tree. What it is grown, I think the seed has a more potential because it has that desire, that concentrated desire to grow into, to experience itself into the fullness. So I think it's like the highest form of potential of the spiritual growth and everything lies in that very seed. It could be a tiny desire, like in a form, but it has everything that's like, like, I hope you're able to understand. It's that
Yes, I understand. I understand.
energy. So I totally relate because that seed itself is very important. Then if that is there, and if that's more stronger, then I think the rest of the stages it's out. But that's the energy of that seed and what it has, and that desire is like the most important in the first place. So
Desire of the seed to grow, that desire of the seed to grow I call self-love. Sachit knows about this idea self-love. He can maybe explain to you later in much greater detail. So self-love is when you love yourself, you worship yourself, you celebrate yourself, and yet you know that you can grow much more. So in a way, Japanese have a very beautiful way of looking at it. They call it a wabi-sabi way of life. I don't know whether I have talked about wabi-sabi earlier or not in these classes, but I don't remember. But I have taught it in my classes of late, in SAPG and other places. So wabi-sabi way of life is, in the sense that wabi means I understand perfection is not possible. I understand that nothing is perfect in nature. And so I am also not perfect. So that realization deep down gives an immense sense of self-acceptance. That whatever I am, whichever way I am, wherever I am in my journey, I am good. So that is, self-acceptance, and that is wabi. And it's a very beautiful way of being, okay? But having said that, this Japanese idea of kaizen comes from the other concept, the sabi. The sabi is that, okay, having said that I'm not perfect, it doesn't mean that I don't aspire to become better than what I am today. So then, that growth aspect comes. And so every day becomes kaizen, continuous improvement. Every life experience becomes an opportunity to learn and grow. So that is what, encapsulates the seed's desire to grow. So the seed is having a lot of self-acceptance, self-love, accept itself the way it is, but also is looking forward to growing more and more, more and more, more and more. So we appreciate the beauty of imperfection. We appreciate the potential in the seed which has not yet fully matured. Right? And in the hurry to become the tree, we don't become frustrated. Right? So patience is there. In this self-love, patience is there. So this is the patience and love of a mother. No, it's like a nurturant mother. But this time your mother is you only, not someone else. This is the inner parenting, the art of inner parenting. In a spiritual journey, you have to become your own inner parent. Dipanjan, perhaps you have heard this idea first time from me, right? How do you feel about it? It is one of my main teachings in the happiness course.
So I can relate to what you said, that the seed knows that it is not perfect, in the sense that it is not yet a tree, and it accepts that it is growing. So that I can relate to. That desire is there to grow, and there is also self-acceptance that one is not perfect, but there is still the desire to become better.
Yeah, so to come back to this framework, so when we have a framework like this, and the other frameworks also, for example, Das Mahavidya I have been talking about many times, is also a framework. Someday I will start sharing that also, but there's so much to share that there's not much time, right? Just time flies just like that. You see, it's such a deep thing, no? Last time I showed you the movie, right? And right now I have not even covered 1/3 of the movie, even 1/4 of the movie. And we are stuck, discussing for more than an hour. So this shows the depth of these ideas. It's not that easy, right? So, but then when we have a framework like this, where there are stages which are shown, then we want to understand what the subsequent stages are. Then we also want to experience how it would be to experience these higher stages. Could it be that Buddha was on stage 9 or stage 10, or Amma is on stage 10? Who knows what it would be like, right? So this gives us some sort of a motivation. So in a way, we are also bringing Rajasic energy. We are bringing that, aspiration that yes, I would like to reach those stages. That is needed. Otherwise, what happens is that a spiritual path can be so daunting and so lonely, because nothing in our environment may support us. Immediate family may not be supportive. relatives may not be supportive, the workplace may not be supportive, the larger media or television or the world outside is not supportive, the newspapers that you read, the magazines generally. So unless you really consciously choose yourself, self-love, I told about self-love just now, inner parenting, unless you choose your own well-being and unless you understand that your well-being is in your own spiritual development, you will not spend enough time and effort in doing it. Now, this is a very intricate and very important point. This is the most important point, self-love. Unless you love yourself, and your love for yourself is very deep and is based on sound understanding, your spiritual process will be short-lived. You will get bored and frustrated very quickly. So those 5 things I shared, knowledge of the right process, faith in the right process, applying the right process, and patience, all 4 will lead to the fruits. And fruits are more in the Wabi-Sabi way. They are coming very slowly. You never become perfect. Till the end of your life, you will not become perfect. But then so what? There is joy in growth. As Vidhi was saying, there is joy in growth. The seed's thrill of growing, of potential. That is what gives us happiness. And not only that, at each stage as the seed grows, the happiness becomes more deep and more fulfilling. And all the qualities that are there in a very evolved being, love, courage, patience, faith, optimism, ability to inspire everyone, that keeps increasing in us. And that is a real authentic human power. This is a power not coming from position, that I am the CEO or something. Your whole personality radiates that power. People, what you call the aura, your aura develops and strengthens. By your sheer presence, a whole room can become lit up. And anyone who has sensitivity, they can feel that you're not an ordinary person. Because your aura is radiating. You know what I'm saying? If you go near Amma and such people, you can feel their aura. So that is what I'm talking about. So as you grow more and more, your aura develops, your presence develops. Now why your presence develops? Because the divine is growing in you. So again, coming back to this framework, this monk, the spiritual yearning becomes spiritual guidance, the inner voice. Then you see, at some point, at stage 5, the monkey has gone behind the elephant and the monk has come in front of the elephant. And the monk is looking towards the elephant. Right? Now, what does this mean is, it means that the inner spirit knows that the elephant needs support, that the monkey has gone. Because the elephant thought the monkey to be its leader. Now, who was the monkey? Monkey was a brilliant intellect. Monkey was a brilliant intellect. Very, very brilliant intellect. To reach stage 5 is not a small feat. In the worldly plane, such a person, if he were active, he will be leading NASA, he will be leading a nation, he will be leading a whole MNC. Because his brain will be so brilliant by this time. Or as a cricketer, he will be the very best in the history of cricket by this time. So don't underestimate this diagram. Because in every stage, your mind is growing exponentially in power. Okay. So you have become a truly extraordinary being by stage 3 itself. Okay. So in stage 5, what is happening is that this brilliant intellect which has been guiding us and which has brought us all this glory, all this success, is now taking a rear seat. And we are guided more and more by the inner spiritual values. So at this stage, what happens is that our decisions may become very drastic. We may quit a very highly paying job And we may start leading a very simple contemplative life, inner oriented life. We may start giving more and more time to our inner sadhana. We may become a recluse. Or we may start becoming, a part-time worker. We may join the gig economy. We don't want a full-time job. We now need to give more time to our inner process by stage 5, because commitment is total now. There is no turning back now. The monk coming in front means now spirit is guiding. And at this stage, what happens is that often the inner prompting may come that you need to do this now. And that may mean you have to give up a few things in the material life. Okay. Now God is directly guiding you. And these intuitions are no longer faint glimmerings or faint voices. These are very loud and very, very prominent. It's not as if someone else is telling you. Your own inner spirit is telling you. I don't know how to put it in words. Are you following what I'm saying? Can you intuit what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
In many ways, I have experienced it, or I've been experiencing it for many years actually. Like when I have been teaching happiness for so many years, do you not think people have laughed at me in those days? What is he teaching? He's wasting time. And I am graduate talking about happiness. Why doesn't he teach, something sensible? So, those things you are able to withstand only because spirit is guiding you. And stage 5 is a very critical stage because you need a lot of solace, you need a lot of comfort, you need a lot of support, because it seems you are going against the world. Till stage 4, you are able to placate the world and placate the inner self both. Somehow, have a alliance of both inner and outer life. But at stage 5, you are able to go against the dominant majority's perspective. You have your own voice now. And that voice is guided by spirit. So like when I was teaching happiness, I knew that this is what the world needs. This is what the inner spirit was telling me. I was feeling that the world doesn't need more money, more technology, or more free time, or more wealth. There is enough wealth, enough technology for people to be very, very happy and peaceful in the outer life. Don't you think so, Sachit, Dipanjan? Do we lack technology for happiness right now?
No, not at all.
No.
Do you think we are going for too much technology now?
Yes.
Definitely. It's only
Way
getting
too much than
chaotic.
needed, which is only creating more distraction and taking away from our own selves.
So it is basically creation of the stage 1, no? Not even stage 1. In fact, creation of even something before stage 1. The monkey and the elephant are completely black. In Mahabharata, we had this character called Dhritarashtra, who was quite a mighty person, right? So a modern scientist who has no spiritual sense or inventor can be compared to a monkey only, nothing more than that. Very bright monkey, but nothing more than that. I know many people will be very angry with me to hear this, but then I have to speak the truth, right? Just because you are a bright monkey doesn't mean that you are human. Not yet. Not yet. A bright monkey may not be human. To become human, you need to come to at least stage 1 and start. Because then the yearning starts to become human. And then in stage 1, stage 2, even in stage 3, you are becoming more and more human. Stage 4 also, you are becoming more and more human. In stage 5 also, you are becoming more and more human. In stage 6 also, you are a very great human and very inspiring human, right? And then what happens? In stage 7, you can see the monkey and the rabbit are saying bye bye, right? And elephant is almost white, only the rear legs are black. You can see that. So what it means is that by the stage 7, one has reached such enormous development that the ego is about to say bye. Means we are on the brink of enlightenment. There are long phases when the ego is very much silent and very much in abeyance, and there are long hours of stillness in the inner self, inner being. I have experienced these states many times in the in the last 7-8 years. Earlier I used to experience, like I'm in a bus journey. I remember one particular bus journey. I was going to Calicut and from Coimbatore, and in the whole journey I was thoughtless completely. Not a single thought came to me. Absolutely still mind, and so much peace and so much bliss and so much joy. I can relate that to the stage 7. Huh? The ego is very much there, but it is in abeyance. It has subsided for a long time. Something like that. And in that moment, in that mood, or in that kind of state of mind, everything looks so vivid that that students experience in the park. Millman's experience in the park, something like that. Everything looks so beautiful. A beggar woman, she looks so beautiful, in her own way. You no longer are looking at beauty in terms of some preconceived notions. In fact, everything is looking so beautiful. That stick, that walking stick looks so beautiful. That bus looks so beautiful. The dirty clothes look so beautiful. In fact, nothing is dirty anymore. Everything is so beautiful. I don't know how to explain, how to express that. So, I mean, there's nothing ugly about life. Everything is so beautiful. You are in that stage of receptivity, acceptance. Perfection is a very stupid idea in that state of mind. I mean, why would you want anything to be perfect? I mean, for God's sake, nothing needs to be perfect. The life is perfect as it is in its imperfection.
So I was remembering the other idea which you had shared earlier about stages and states of mind. So it is not necessarily that, I mean, though you would broadly go through all these stages of growth, but many states of mind can definitely come to as an experience like you were mentioning. So I was also remembering one such experience, which was very brief for me. It was not for all these hours. It was just for a few minutes of, after one particular session where we were discussing and knowledge was shared about what actual gratitude means, what actually gratitude is, and a lot of revelations on it. The next day when we were going to that session, like that vivid experience, everything looks completely so something like that movies experience also, that even the as flat as the road which is there in front of me was looking extremely vivid, that it was a completely different experience that you cannot explain. Yeah, that was just for a couple of minutes, but yeah, I just wanted to share.
Yeah, these states will come more and more, and they will become deeper and deeper also. That shows you are quite advanced on the path. But so in connecting to peaceful warrior, so he was in that state 7, at the climax of the movie, and maybe he's still in stage 7. He's teaching the whole world that that, because that is where he reached. So he's sharing that, and that is very beautiful. So one rabbit is there to teach the world, all right? So he's sharing that. I am teaching the world, right? Happiness. That rabbit is there in me. That love for world is there, and that is very beautiful, right? Are we perfect? We're not perfect. Still areas to work on. So that rear legs are black means still areas to work on. All right, that is true for me also. Still many areas to work on. So life is quite beautiful, and that seed's desire to grow further has not yet died. It's still very much there. Right. And I guess as we go further higher up in the these stages, I'll show you the diagram. So in stage 8, the elephant has become fully white. So what it means is that, what is called karma. Karma has vanished now. And what do I mean karma has vanished? What I mean is that your mind is completely in your control now. Your mind simply does what you want it to do. Now that is a state which is very, very difficult to attain. Mind doesn't throw a rabbit from time to time at all. It is like one dedicated life. Maybe someone like Swami Vivekananda, maybe I can think of. Whole life after he awakened was spent in spreading the Guru's teachings, Ramakrishna Paramahansa's teachings. One dedicated life, purely white soul, purely Sattvic soul, leading such an inspiring life, a very brief life, but this life had so much impact upon the consciousness of the whole world, right? So you can see, I think Vivekananda was in stage 8 from what I can see of his life. Intuitively, I'm placing him there. But in such a short span of time, he had such a tremendous impact upon the world. And you can see the purity in his thoughts, that brilliance in his thoughts, that that you can see that it's not an ordinary mind speaking. And such an inspiring person, such an inspiring presence, right? And further up, in stage 9, you are saying that this person is meditating. This person is meditating, so it's a mind which has become very sattvic, and often in this stage, I think you'll be meditating a lot. You'll be sitting and meditating a lot. And the question arises, if the mind is purely white, what are you meditating upon? So this is the stage when you are able to experience divine. Stage 9 is the stage where you are able to experience the divine, and you now know that you are spirit and you are not this body. This is the stage when Mirabai sings, Payo ji mane Ram Ratan Dhan Payo. I have told about it many times. So I was just today scrolling the YouTube. I came across one teaching of Puttaparthi Sai Baba. I'm sharing with you, which kind of describes that state. So he says that in the room of the body, there is a strong box called the heart. In that strong box called the heart, there is a gem of wisdom. And the 4 thieves, Lobha, Moha, Kama and jealousy, he says. These 4 thieves are there to rob this gem. Okay? Guard this gem with the support of the Almighty Lord. The guardian of all. So this was the teaching. And that is the purpose of human life. So I immediately thought that if the context arises, I will share this today. So I shared with you. The context is this, the stage 9. So if someone were to understand, I understand what he's saying. Why? Because I am able to connect to Paramatman when I sit for meditation. Now. Okay. This Calicut experience happened some 7-8 years ago. Okay. So now when I sit in stage 9. There is a God, I can tell you. I experience it every day. And the experience is deepening day by day. So what I mean to say, I am sure you will be puzzled by what I am saying. So there is a God means what? Am I experiencing a person with a beard? No. God is Brahman. It is a subtle presence. How subtle? Subtler than the subtlest. So Krishna says that I am the bigger than the biggest and smaller than the smallest. And this particular statement in Bhagavad Gita had puzzled me for so many years. God knows how many years. I used to make Venn diagrams. How he's saying that, when B is in A is also in B. What he is saying? How it is possible? Either A is in B or B is in A. But he is saying A is in B and B is in A, and both are in me. Are you following me? So, so another way of saying that is God is immanent and transcendent Brahman. You may have heard such statements. So, what does it mean? What does all this mean? What it means is that you can imagine there is a vast, infinite ocean of consciousness, divine consciousness. That is what Sai Baba is telling, guard that gem with the support of the Universal Lord. That is the Universal Lord. That supreme ocean of consciousness is the Universal Lord. And the gem is the Atman. So, the supreme consciousness ocean, that is the Brahman. And the gem at the core of your being is the Atman. So, man's reality is that the Atman has got separated from the Brahman for some reason. And because Atman has got separated from the Brahman, it has become trapped in Maya. And what happened after trapping in the Maya is that this Atman thinks it is the body. This Atman has no other awareness except the body and what the five sense organs reveal to the brain when it is awake. That is what it thinks is the only reality and there is nothing else. So if you look at scientists, they say that only that which I can perceive through the five senses, that is what exists. Anything beyond that is purely superstition or ignorant belief. So religion is all hocus pocus. Right. But the religion never dies from the world. Why the religion doesn't die? Because from time to time, people like me keep coming and keep declaring that religion is not false, that God exists. Right. So, it will be a very sad day when the whole world is convinced God doesn't exist. And is that possible? It is very much possible. Not impossible theoretically. Why not? It's a belief only. And that is why, people like me strive so hard to not let the truth die in the consciousness of the world, because it should not die. There is only one thing which should never die, and that is this awareness that God exists. And that is why in India, so many temples were built. That is why in India, all the kings will dedicate their treasury to support the temples. And that is why in India, throughout the year and every month, there are so many religious festivals. In fact, we need only one excuse to start celebrating. We are a country where we just need one smallest excuse to start celebrating and remembering God and singing and dancing. Why we are like that? Are we a mad country? In this 21st century, saying these things, sound so weird, to most people. It may look like, what he's teaching. He's a stupid fellow. But unfortunately, this stupidity itself is the truth. God has to be remembered all the time because it is so tough to remember and so easy to forget. So the reality is like this, in your room, there is something which is very much there. And it is the most important thing in the room. But it is so subtle. It is so subtle that your five sense organs and the brain can't perceive it. But it is very much there. And not only it's very much there, the only purpose of human life is to perceive that. To perceive that, to treasure that, to grow that, and that is the divine seed in us, the Atman. So Sai Baba is absolutely right. In this room called the body, in the box called the heart, there is the secret jewel, and that is Atman, soul, what we call. That has to be discovered. So this diagram, 10 stages, is meant to discover that. Now, there is a lot of controversy about whether Buddha believed in Atma or not. I think that is a pointless discussion. Anyone who made this framework, it is not attributed to Buddha, but some other Buddhist master. But anyone who made this framework knows what he is talking. And even Buddha never denied that there is a higher reality. He called it nirvana. Now, my humble point is this. See, if someone is demonstrating so much peace on his face, Buddha means peace, right? His aura is radiating so much peace. If someone is expressing so much peace, obviously his mind has been stilled completely. So, can the mind be stilled completely unless the mind is experiencing some higher reality? Is it possible for the mind to be stilled completely unless the mind is experiencing a higher reality? What is your intuitive answer? That is what will be your intuitive answer, which will satisfy you. And my thing is that, why bother about one person, Buddha or Krishna or anyone? Does it really matter? As I had told earlier about Rama, whether you worship Rama the person, or Rama the idea, or Rama the ideal, or Rama the reality, the same thing again becomes relevant, whether it is the prophet or the Buddha or the Jesus. Idea is that whether you want to worship the person or the reality. All of them represent only one reality, and that is your reality and my reality and everyone's reality. So, if we worship the reality, in the Gyan Marg, we only worship the reality. And we want to find only the reality. Right? And we believe that it is possible to find the reality using our intellect, using teachings, teachers, our effort, and divine grace. So you see, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, till that, intellect, the teacher, the teaching, our effort, the process, the faith in the right process, applying it, patience, all that is working. Yes or no? I'll take a pause here. This is the crux of all my classes so far, last 9 months, 8-9 months. Yeah, Raj, you would like to respond to it?
So I'll go a little later, sir, but I'm trying to gather my thoughts. I will for sure.
Yes, Sachin?
Yes, definitely. Like you said, all of it sums it up till this, knowing the process, trust in the process or faith in the process, and then applying it. And then patience is what leads you to these steps of growth. And then I think which starts, the difference is the grace aspect which starts coming when you keep doing this. It definitely begins when you start, but as you keep applying and as you keep continuing in that fourth step which you said of being patient, there would be a time where grace is expanding, like how we are expanding our light. The grace aspect also expands and grows within us, and that is what really helps us to move forward. That's what is just came into my mind as I was speaking. Nothing else at the moment.
Yeah, so that is what it is all about, right?
And to
Yeah, Vidhi, yeah, please.
And to add to this, all of these leads to more experiences, and when we experience that, it becomes even more stronger, because everything we know, but when we experience it, we experience the bliss of it. It becomes more and more stronger, and we are like, very strong enough to go forward in this path and to experience more and more and strengthen our beliefs, whatever we have got till this stage, like the faith, and to experience that itself is like a big sign in like going forward to further stages.
Yeah, so that fifth thing which I told, reaping the reward, that is the experience only.
Yeah.
We are being patient for what? To experience the higher states, which is being promised by the teacher all along, right? That is why, you see, this is never called self-knowing. This is always called self-realization. So what is knowing? Knowing is intellectual. And what is realization? Realization is
Experience.
experiencing. You becoming the self. In fact, you never become the self. It is self-realizing, it is the self. Amasel says that what happens with enlightenment? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. You don't become the self. You already are the self. You recognize you are the self. It is not an happening, it's a realization. The seed was always the tree. It never knew it. So the spiritual yearning, I had asked in the beginning, the spiritual yearning and then the inner voice and that, spirit, are they the same or are they are the same? It is just that yearning level spirit was that faint little thing in the room which was difficult to recognize, which 5 sense organs and brain cannot recognize. It comes as a faint glimmer in the heart somewhere, at the deepest core. It seems as if there is something which wants me to be good. There is something which reprimands me for stealing or for cheating or for lying or for being a coward, You know what I'm saying? Or for not speaking my truth. That is the faint glimmer of truth inside, in that room, in the box of the heart. Right? But our job is to not let go of it. The whole world is teaching these days to let go of it. Only fools cling to ideals and, spirituality and such good things. If you believe in that, you will be left behind in this rat race. But then our question is, what is the point in winning in the rat race? You'll remain a rat only. The elephant may win the race, but remains a wild elephant only. What is the point? Do we want to remain a wild elephant, a wild rat? Doesn't matter, rat or elephant, horse. You know what I'm saying? Remain ignorant. That is not the point. We will never even understand what happiness means. A very rich and powerful man, who is trying to groom his son also to become his successor and be as mad as he is, will not even know what love means. He thinks ambition is love. Is ambition love? Is power the currency of love? What kind of power does someone like Amma, have over people, those who follow her? These are very deep questions. Yeah, Deepanjan, you want to respond to my query? Because you are very new to this class and I have not taught you in the classroom also, hence that is why I hope you don't mind it, my asking you.
No, sir. It is it's very interesting to look at this framework and understand the different stages. Of course, like I said, that the other higher states are something that I understand only theoretically. So it's very interesting. So I had one question regarding the size of the flames reducing. You mentioned the elephant and the monk and the rabbit and the monkey. So I noticed that the flames are getting smaller, the fire by the side of the road as we move up. So,
yeah.
Does that represent the world or
Yeah.
the suffering?
Yeah, very good question. So in Buddhist way of thinking, the world is called the samsara. You may be knowing about it, right? The Buddhists refer to world as the samsara. Are you aware of it, Dipanjan?
Sir, sansar, I have heard something that keeps changing. That is what it means, right, sir?
Yeah, so Buddhist way of thinking, samsara is suffering. So samsara means all this that you see, what India calls Maya. So samsara is what we are experiencing all the time. This life, materialistic life, material life, including this body. Everything is changing, everything is perishable. Nothing is permanent, right? So that Buddhists call samsara. So the tree that you see, the tree represents the samsara. In the stage one, you can see that there is tree in the backdrop of the monk, right? So you will see that that tree is the samsara. So what is samsara? Samsara is our attachment to the world. So in theories of personality, Raj will know, but you will not know. Others have not studied that. I used to call it, there is something called object relations theory or object relations view of theories of personality. In object relations perspective, what happens is that whatever is there that you experience outside, that object is represented by you in your mind. Like when I say the word mother, you will start remembering your mother right now. So even though the mother is not physically present, you will remember her in the mind, right? So this is the object relations perspective. So samsara, mother is a part of samsara, is not only an objective world, it is also represented in your mind. All the objects that you experience in the world outside are represented in your mind. When I say the word tree, you can remember a tree. That is samsara. So samsara is your attachment to all these worldly objects. In psychology, we call it cathexis. So how strongly you cathect to different objects is the strength of the samsara. And in the Buddhist path, we are trying to break free from the samsara. Why? Because samsara is suffering. Because you see, whenever you are attached to something, ultimately that thing will be lost because everything is changing. And when that thing is lost to which you are attached, it will cause suffering. So that is why you want to drop the attachments as much as possible through spiritual practices. That is the Buddhist worldview. So the tree represents samsara, which means your attachments to the samsara. Then you can see in the first stage, the tree is quite strong and big. Then what happens? In the second stage, you will see that there is a fire along with the tree. Okay. There is a fire along with the tree. So what is that fire? That fire is the awakening of wisdom. No, Jnana Agni it's called in Sanskrit. Jnana Agni. Jnana is compared to Agni. And this Agni burns down the ignorance. If you look at fire, fire has two properties, light and heat. So light is illuminating property and heat is the burning property. So this samsara needs to be illuminated and needs to be burned. So the Jnanagni has both properties. It illuminates the samsara in the sense that you start to understand the deeper workings of your mind. What is samsara? Samsara is your mind only. Because all the things are dependent on the mind only. In fact, mind is nothing but samsara only. You see in the last stage, 10th stage, in the 10th stage, you see this man is riding the elephant, and then beyond the 10th stage, this man is having a sword in his hand. And there's a very big flame you can see at the back of him, at his back. And there are flag, there's a flag, a spiritual flag. That flag is the spiritual victory. And with a sword, he is descending to this plane. He is the Buddha. That guy, you see at the top is the Buddha. Now, Buddha doesn't mean Gautama or Siddhartha. Buddha means anyone who has reached that stage. So, such a person has become world teacher. Such a person has become, Krishna is like that. Buddha is like that, Rama is like that. So such a person has achieved victory over the Maya or Sansara. And that flame that you see is the flame of enlightenment. Man has become one with God. Okay, that is the ultimate victory. So to answer your question, so you see in the stage 1, a flame is lit up. That flame is the flame of wisdom. Then this flame starts to illuminate your mind, samsara. So what happens? By illuminating your mind, you are able to overcome these, lobha, moha, kama, krodha, etc. Slowly, 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 because you understand the inner workings and how they are bringing suffering to you. Without deep understanding of mind, can you transcend the mind? Without deep understanding of your tendencies, bad tendencies, or dysfunctional tendencies, can you overcome them? You can't overcome them. So that is why deep, what we call awareness. So that awareness which wisdom brings, that helps us to tame the mind, refine the wildness of the mind. That is that flame. So as the flame grows, the tree dwindles, stage by stage, you can see. So in this framework, what is happening is that with more and more wisdom, we are cutting down the branches of the samsara. We are entangled, like you have seen that, when we used to, knit a sweater in earlier times, people used to knit, women will knit a sweater. There was what do you call wool, wool balls will be there. Sometimes the wool ball will get stuck. So many knots will form. So you have to unentangle, disentangle all the knots, right? Before you can start knitting. So it is like the mind is like that woolen ball. It has got knotted in so many places. So you want to break free of those knots. So this wisdom, that flame, helps to unentangle the mind from its different attachments. And as you do that, the woolen ball becomes more sorted. So your mind becomes more sorted, more useful. So slowly, slowly, your mind becomes more and more a useful tool than a wild monkey and a wild elephant. Okay. So as you can very quickly appreciate. So as you're going through stages, your flame is becoming brighter and stronger, and the tree is dwindling. And by stage 3, you can see the tree has become quite small. Stage 4, stage 5, the tree is about to fall, you can see. The tree is about to fall in stage 5. You can see that, right? And by stage 6, tree has fallen, and the monkey is behind the master, and the rabbit has disappeared. Now you can see the tree and the rabbit are related. No tree, no rabbit. No tree, no rabbit. Means what? No samsara, no desires, no vasanas. Who was the rabbit? Rabbit was the vasana. Odd vasana cropping up. Now you have disintegrated the whole samsara. Karmas you have generally dissolved. So no rabbits left. It is only now that you can lead a truly selfless life. That is why many people are frightened of spirituality. That it will take away everything from me. For example, Vidhi and Sachit are married today, right? I'll take this example, extreme example. And they love each other very deeply. So what will happen in enlightenment? Will they stop loving each other? No. They will not stop loving each other. The nature of the love will change. Not only it will change, but Vidhi will start to love everyone ultimately as deeply as he loves Sachit. Now it may look a very frightening prospect right now. But also imagine what state of mind that is. If truly you believe me, it is like I am saying, Amma loves a stranger as much as he loves her own brother. Maybe even more than a normal sister can love a normal brother. Because she sees only God, nothing else. So our problem of humanity is that we think, see what has gone wrong in the world, one major thing which has gone wrong. We think God is omnipotent and omniscient, right? And hence our expectations from God is too high. But we forget God is also omnipresent. If we focus upon God's omnipresence, you will see God in the eyes of the goat that is about to be butchered for its meat. That goat is God. Just because you can kill the goat, you think it is not God. Because you can't think of God as powerless. And since modern society is so obsessed with power, it fails to see God in a weak and helpless creature. And this is a very sad thing. So that is why I feel I am doing a great duty, towards myself, my God, and my world to share this in these classes. God is not only omnipotence, God is also omnipresence. So there is a helpless God before you in the form of the beggar, in the form of the leper, in the form of the goat. And not only that, there is one more disservice which spirituality has done traditionally by saying everything is a leela. As if God has become the leper just to trick us or to cheat us, to deceive. It's not like that. It is not like that. It is sheer helplessness of this consciousness, this bundle of consciousness. This particular bundle of consciousness is so helplessly trapped in the samsara that it is receiving the bad end of the stick. He did so many bad karmas that experiencing the fruits now. Now you may ask me, how is God going to experience the fruits of karma? That is how this intricate reality is constructed. No one can escape karma unless they know themselves. Since no one knows themselves, they can't escape karma. And it's the law of nature that what doesn't go up goes down. It's called gravity. Gravity applies everywhere. So everyone who is not making a spiritual effort is going down day by day. Could it be that when we grow older, we become diseased because we accumulate so many karmas in a fresh body? Fresh karmas in a fresh body in this fresh lifetime. Could it be that a Sattvic lifestyle can help us to lead a life of 100 years without any illness? It seems to me that it is true. We can simply, at the end of our lifespan, simply drop the body and go in a healthy state. It used to happen in early times in India. You may have heard about such things, right? You may have seen such people also. There was a doctor in Patna, my native place, who was practicing till 98 years of age. And one day he died in the clinic, very peaceful death. Suddenly he just died, just like that. A very pure Sattvic soul. Okay, a legendary doctor. So he was a very pure mind, living a very pure Karma Yogi's life. It is very much possible. So have I answered you, Dipanjan?
Yes, sir.
So that is what it is. And in stage 7, you can see the tree has fallen, basically. Karmas have basically gone, for all practical purposes. And then we are living a very peaceful and very happy life. So, what happens to normal people? They think that these things are so beautiful that spirituality will take my interest away in these things. And that will be a tragedy. Now, if I take away your candy and give you, the whole sweet shop, is that a bad business? Or no, you are fighting for some, 100 square feet of land on the sea beach, and as Raj said, the whole ocean belongs to you. So is that a bad business? It's not like that. It's not a bad business. It is just that people are very short-sighted. It is just that the way karma works, it takes a lot of time for the karmas to fructify. If everything that we do fetched an instantaneous reward or punishment, we will perhaps wake up much more quickly. But then we can't influence the way the karma operates. Karma does operate, but it takes a lot of time. And it follows this principle that what is destined to you in this lifetime, only that will happen. And plus the karmas that you accumulate in this lifetime, those will happen. Both will happen. But the old karmas buried deep in the unconscious mind, they will not fructify so quickly. They will need future lifetimes to fructify. That is how karma works. And since we have been living for many lifetimes, we have a tremendous backlog of karma. So this tree you see, this tree is the tree of karma. Now this tree has become so humongous. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Arjuna to Arjuna that, have you seen that Aswatha tree whose roots are above and the branches are below? Have you read that sloka? That is what it means. This is the tree Krishna is referring to, this tree of karma, Aswatha tree. Its roots are above means in the mind. Roots are in the mind. And the branches means what you are experiencing right now. Okay, that is what he means. Everything is in the mind. Okay. So we discussed quite a lot of these things. I don't know how much I could do justice. So in this Peaceful Warrior movie, you can see that how a spiritual teacher, when he enters your life and you become interested in the teachings, and when you practice them with faith and dedication and patience, then you can really develop in this lifetime itself a lot, as Millman developed. It seems his teacher was a very powerful teacher also. We can't experience by simply seeing the movie, what would have happened in real life. His impact was so tremendous that he must not be an ordinary person. So what he would have experienced would be so drastic that a movie cannot capture. But to the best of his ability, he could capture a little bit in the movie, and that itself is so inspiring. So the most important teaching is that your mind has to be in the present moment, and it dovetails with what Amma also says. Amma says that your hand should be, your mind should be where your hand is. So whatever you are doing, you be fully present. So on that theme, there is a very powerful book in psychology these days called Flow, the Psychology of Optimal Experience. Csikszentmihalyi. If you get a time, you can take this book and read it. So that book says that happiness is that only, flow. And what is flow? Flow is being fully absorbed in the present moment, doing whatever you are doing. The activity doesn't matter, whether it is gardening or mountaineering or playing cricket. As long as you focus completely upon the process, that is what is called flow. That is also the meditative experience. And that Millman was able to attain, and that is in stage 7. And when he was able to attain that stage, he was able to be fully present in his gymnastic performance. So whatever you do, that will reach its perfection, whether it is cooking or gardening or anything. Any skill that you practice, it will reach its perfection at stage 7. And he could reach till stage 7 with the help of the master, and he's sharing that with the whole world. Right? So I think we can end here for today.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.